Hey guys, welcome to Hope It Helps. And my guest on the show today is my good friend Mr. Talal Alami. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you, thank you.
How you doing?
All good, all good.
All good?
Busy but good.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. So, Talal, I wanted to talk to you today because I think what you do is pretty unique, and especially all the work you've been doing over the past like couple of years and 10 years, like with the training and everything, is pretty interesting. And not many people, it's not every day you get to speak to an Olympic athlete who trains. So that's pretty interesting. But I wanted to start at the beginning. So why don't you give everyone just a little bit of an intro about yourself, growing up here, and we'll take it from there.
Cool. Yeah, so I grew up here basically my whole life. Just like was into sport when I was quite young. Dad got me into sport. Me and my brother, Omar. We used to play loads of sports. Football was probably the first thing, but I was always a fast kid in school. And like as I was growing up, I started to realize I was like the quickest in school and the quickest in like the all the English schools, and the one of the PE teachers who was had relations with the UAE national team was like, "Oh, you're Emirati. How about you run for the like try out for the UAE national team?" And I was about to go. He got me in contact with the sprint coach over there, and before I went there, unfortunately, he got fired
Oh shit.
before I could have the first session with him, which
Mm-mm.
sucked.
Yeah.
I was so like I wanted to do it so badly.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
knows the UAE national team. Anyways, my dad saw that I was interested. Omar, my brother, was also interested. So he put us with a club, Al Ahli club,
Okay.
and we ran with them. And I was like, it was like a shock, you know. I was coming onto the scene. I don't look at Marathi. I was coming onto the scene. Everyone was like, "Who's this guy?"
New kid on the block.
Yeah. I was beating it, like I was racing against like 16-year-olds when I was like 17-year-olds when I was like 14. I was coming like first, second, you know. They were all surprised.
Yeah.
And then I started like training more and more. I really enjoyed it, like the training that I was doing. And I started winning national titles. So I won 100 and 200 meter national titles for youth and juniors.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome.
I was enjoying it so much. But I on race day I used to get so stressed. But I think it used to help me run faster.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Use that energy to like
yeah,
let's
the
just use it on the
adrenaline
thing.
would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like
yeah.
through the roof.
For sure.
But when the gun would go, like everything would disappear, you know.
Yeah, you're just in the zone.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
run
You
straight.
forget what happens in the race. You just cross the line. You're like, yeah.
It's done. Yeah, yeah. We made it. We made it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it was really fun. And then like I realized that there's a bigger world out there. When I went to compete internationally with the UAE national team, I was like, wow, like there are very fast guys around the world. So I was like almost like reality check, you know.
Mm-mm.
And then as I grew older, I needed to balance studies and training. Mom and dad kept me like on a level ground, you know. I just wanted to train, train, train,
For
train.
sure.
But yeah, so I was still training every day, like 2-3 hours a day. But I still made time for studying, and it was so stressful, especially A levels. Geez, the last two years school.
My A levels suck.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
hate them. I hate those 2 years are the worst 2 years in my high school, like 100%.
Yeah. It was so tough. But then I wanted to go to a specific university. Half of the motivation was because it was really highly ranked for sports science, which is what I wanted to study, and also it was like one of the top universities in the UK for athletics or track and field.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go, and I made it. Alhamdulillah, made the grades and got in. And then I studied and trained at the same time. Really enjoyed it. Like met super cool people. Competed with the university team, which was actually like quite hard to get into. And I picked up a medal for the university championships, the whole of the UK.
Oh shit! No way.
Yeah, in the relay, it was such a good moment. I loved it. It was in my last year as well. I picked it up, so it was like 4 years of work, and
Finished
that
strong.
was like yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
awesome.
was so good. So and then I came here, and I met my friend when I was in university. His name's Omar Hamid. He's a Pakistani English guy. He competed for Pakistan in the World Championships. He's done really well. He's older than me. He's 31. I'm 24, and he competed internationally in bigger competitions than I did for sure. He's more like he's a higher level athlete than I am. But
Okay.
anyways, I met him on the track here in Dubai because he moved over here to work, and was telling me about what he was doing. He basically started. He wanted to start this academy. He started it 2 years ago now, and basically we got to know each other, and he was telling me, I want you to come on board, and I was very interested because it was a track and field academy that he was doing by himself. It sounded so cool to run that kind of thing. He's more of a business guy.
Okay.
He studied business in university. I was more of the like athletics, like science-y type thing. Anyway, so I graduated university and I moved here to start working with him. So it's literally me and him running this business, and it's it's crazy and it's so much fun and so stressful, but it's good. So like now I have time. I'm given time. Well, I have to try to balance work and training again. And yeah, it's a challenge, but it's good. It's a good challenge.
Man, that's so many points to pick up on. First of all, I want to go back to when you actually started training with the UAE team. So you said growing up you were like one of the fastest in school, and you seem to just have a talent for athletics and so on.
Yeah.
But there's a talent, and then there's when you're like training for like that kind of level. So what was the biggest, I guess, surprise for you, or the biggest like change you had to make when you started like entering that kind of world?
Oh man, it was like, every year you realize that, I can push myself harder, like every year, literally. And like, if I look back to that time when I was training then, I was like, man, that was easy, like compared to now.
Really?
The training is like of my like mentality coming into training is so different than it was back then. Like the level that you'd push yourself to was way lower, That's one of the things, being able to push yourself harder.
Okay.
And then the second thing was food. I was like being able to like control what you eat and stuff, to try to like maintain weight, to run faster and stuff like that. That's quite difficult as well. Eating the right like foods and stuff, especially our food is so good.
But there's rice with everything.
Yeah.
Literally, it's a good with rice.
Yeah, so those are probably the two main things. And also mentality coming into competition. Like, like being able to execute like a technically good race under pressure is quite tough. When I used to run when I was younger, my shoulder used to be up here, like just aggression, But now then you realize that doing that actually makes you slower. The tighter muscles will make you slower. So you need to learn to relax. It's like relaxed aggression. It's weird. And it's really hard to do.
That sounds so like counterintuitive, doesn't it? Right? 'Cause when you're aggressive, like when you're in that state, you're like all tense and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. When I first got told that, I was like, what are you saying, man? The harder you push the floor, the further you're gonna go.
Exactly. It's pretty simple, yeah.
No, but it's not the way it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the biggest change was making those like adjustments to start competing on that kind of level. So you said things like technique.
Yeah.
So because I noticed, because I went on the website for AIS Athletics, and I saw a lot of different things, technique was a word that came up a lot, and it seemed to be, it's very crucial. Why is technique so important? Because like you said, when you were younger, you were fast. You were already fast.
Yeah.
So, and you must have had your own kind of technique. But why does technique make that significant of a difference, like in the long term?
Yeah, 100%. So let's say like there's a few reasons why technique's so important. Number one is, if you learn how to strike the floor correctly, it's gonna limit the risk of injury.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons. Because everything's in line. There's no overcompensation with the smaller muscles trying to hold everything together. If everything is in line, there's less pressure on the whole body in general. Right?
Okay.
And the other thing is that if you get an athlete from a young age learning how to move correctly, they will have less stress later on, because they were already be moving correctly. So if you try to get an old athlete to change, they've had those habits forever. They need another, like, let's say you change a major thing in an older athlete who's running a certain time in the 100 meters, let's say like 10:8 or something. If you change their technique, they're gonna become slower for like, maybe it'll take 2 years to start.
2 years?
Yeah. They'll go from like 10:8 to 10:9 to 11 maybe, if it's a massive technical change.
Yeah.
And then it'll take 2 years for that athlete to start realize, like, for it to become like a natural movement, like muscle memory, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's difficult. It takes because you're telling your body, okay, move like this, instead of it being natural. It's way faster if it's just muscle memory. So it takes 2 years to become muscle memory, basically.
Wow. So it's making it going from like a conscious effort, like I need to make sure I'm running, like you're thinking about how I'm running, to like this is how you naturally run.
Yeah.
Okay. So I never knew I guess that's why it's so important for, like, you know, all these athletes and all these like football players and like all these guys. That's why they start so young and get those fundamentals like down, so that later on they can apply, I guess, correctly.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to teach, and like it's great because we know how the athlete should be moving. As in, I call all my young kids, they're all athletes to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all, like, I know how they should be moving, and to see the change in them is so cool. And young kids, they pick it up quite well, like, because they're young, you can improve on them quite easy. Like when they're an older athlete, it's harder for them to change because they've been doing it for so long. Yeah,
so when they're younger, they've had less time with those bad habits, so it's easier to change them to the good ones.
Yeah.
So when you change your technique, when you were like starting, when you were younger, how much, like, let's say, what were you running at before, and then once you like fixed the technique, what were you running at like after?
Oh man, I must have been running, like, when I first started, maybe like 11:9 or something, and then I went down to like 11:2. I think my best time in the UAE when I was a kid was like 11:16 when I was 16. So I went from like 11:9 to 11:16.
So almost a second. Though.
Yeah, wow. Which is massive in sprinting. I know it doesn't sound like a lot.
No, because I remember when you were younger and used to come over and you were competing and you're like, yeah, I need it. You were something like that, and you needed to be like 10:9 or something to like qualify or like to get into that. And it's those about 0.2 second difference. And like that's what's stopping you. Like, is that significant? I was always surprised.
Yeah. That was it was over 2 years, I think, from 14 to 16. That was the progression. Yeah, it was good.
And is technique something? So because now you've been training for what, almost 10 years? Yeah. So like do you see, because you've been at this level for so long and training in the correct way for your sport. So I'm sure your technique has adapted and improved over time. But are the changes now, like as you get older, are they a lot smaller?
Yeah.
Like when you look back a year ago, do you see like a huge difference, or it's like I made that tweak, but now it's affecting me like in this way?
Yeah. I see it and I'm like, okay, that's a difference. Like someone else that just sees me running on video, like they'll be like, there's no difference, you know. I can only see it, or people that know sprinting mechanics can see it. Yeah, that's how small it is.
Yeah.
But it'll make a difference. And now that the technique is so refined, we're really getting close. There's no perfection. It's like you're chasing.
You're always gonna get better. Yeah.
And but like now it's more about like developing, like training, developing your body, like knowing. After so many years, you start to figure out what works for you, you know? Now it's about getting those miles in, getting those reps in the gym. Yeah.
So like, your training now must be completely different to like when you're younger, and your body must have gone through many probably different types of training and phases like over the last 10 years, like a bit bigger, a little bit smaller, a little bit this, a little bit that, right?
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
How do you stay like consistent at this level for so long? I don't like it's not like I've been gymming now for 3 years consistently, and for me I feel like the king of the world, but like in Khalid's world, you know what I mean? Like I'm not competing, I'm not doing
all
shit.
That matters.
I agree but so when I see someone who's been doing this and 10 times more than me and for 10 years, I'm like, how have you been consistent for this long? What do you think is the secret? Is it just a passion for it, or?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, for sure. Passion, like I love it, but also I think I have like exercise dependency. Like
What do you
I
mean?
remember
What do you mean?
we had a module in university, sports psychology, and
Okay.
one of the modules was exercise dependency. It's people that are depending on exercise to live like without stress. You know,
Okay.
they're
Okay.
like, oh, they're like, I don't remember exactly what they were, the points. They're like, if you have exercise dependency, you'll have this, 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 this. I was looking at the list. I was like, yeah, that's me. I wasn't happy. They were talking about it in such a bad way. These guys, they're so exercise dependent. It's not good. I was like, I'm one of them.
I guess it's the worst thing to be dependent on. To be
Yeah,
fair, come
true,
on. At least
true,
exercise is good for you.
Yeah.
So
To a
what-
certain extent.
Yeah, of course. So when you so studying at university, you did sports science, right?
Yeah.
How much did like getting a degree in something like that that's very relevant to what you do? Did it give you when you finished? Did you have a whole new like understanding of like sports and fitness and like your own like? Walk us through like that. How did you feel after it? Yeah.
Yeah, so I learned so much about the physiology of everything, biomechanics. So physiology, like literally like biology, training biology.
Yeah.
As well as like we were in a lot of modules with like biochemistry students and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff overlaps with like medicine side of stuff.
Yeah.
But we learn a lot about exercise physiology. So like training effects, how training affects the body, different types of training, different types of people, like male, female, different populations, you know.
Yeah.
And also like not just that, but I learned so much more specific stuff about track and field is training with the track team, you know. I'm constantly like my coach in university is such a smart guy. Like he's been doing it for years. And I learned so much from picking his brain as well.
Yeah.
Probably more in terms of training stuff, more from him, 100%,
Really?
than my actual university degree.
Yeah.
But I learned about like the basics from university, you know, and also a little bit more about research, like how to research, about like looking through papers in terms of different training, different training methods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. I forgot your question.
It happens. Like how did that knowledge help you like afterwards with like your training and stuff?
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
So 100%. I would have my own ideas coming into training. I'd be like, coach, like come on, I need to do this and this and this to get better. And he'd be like, yeah, but this. Like for example, I was like, I need to do more plyometrics. Like I have a lot of strength, but I need to convert that strength into power and then speed on the track, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm really strong in the gym. I was always like quite strong as a kid, and I struggled to convert the force I can produce in the gym onto the track, and I always like talk to my coach about this kind of stuff, and he did like meet me halfway. He'd be like, okay, you need to do the strength stuff, you need to maintain the strength stuff, because he's right, you need to strengthen your strengths.
Yeah.
If you're strong in the gym, don't just leave it. Get stronger, become an absolute monster, and then produce even more force, you know.
Yeah.
But you also need to do what I learned from a lot of coaches over the years is that you need to learn how to transfer that strength that you can produce to learn how to produce it while running, right? So there's transference exercises. So plyometrics, easy one is like bounding. So when you're running, but instead of you're jumping from one leg to the other, it's almost like
a hop. Kind of
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you see triple jumpers.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And then that helps to transfer that force that you can produce. All transference exercises. For example, resisted sprints. So you have like a sled or a harness that someone's holding, and you're running against them. So that's another transference exercise, right?
Yeah.
And then you do more of that stuff, and helps to transfer the force you can produce in the gym and try to put it on the track, you know?
Yeah.
So stuff like that really, like, it opened my mind to, like, how I should be training for me, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Other guys will have a totally different approach because they're not the same.
That's true. Yeah, everyone needs their own, like a lot of trainers that I've spoken to, they're always like, it's just about coming up with a plan that fits you, what you like, and what your goal is. At the end of the day. You can't just have a blanket thing and give it to everyone. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said something earlier when you competed nationally, you were killing it, and then when you went international, you're like, oh, there's like some real beasts out there. Yeah, there's some beasts out there.
Yeah.
And one thing I was thinking about is, because I know with AIS, we're going to get into it a little bit later, but I know you guys also bring in, like Olympic athletes from the UK and stuff to come and talk to the children. And I think it's awesome to see people like that, because they're like, oh, I want to be like that. So it's inspiring.
Yeah.
But I started to think, I'm like, because you're doing the same sport, right? But just like with football and different like leagues, there's a different style of play. So I'm like, okay, that means in Talal's case, there must be those athletes that he was competing against maybe had a different style of training. Not necessarily the things you focused on. Maybe they focus on other things, and maybe that's faster. So in the athletes you've met over the years, the coaches you've spoken to, is that the case? Is it completely different, like training methodologies across the board?
Yeah, for sure. When I like, for example, when I was training here, it was very much like short, like before I went to university. It was shorter, so we wouldn't do as much distance, and it was more like power, so like pulling sleds, doing faster runs. While when I went to the UK, I was shocked, because I think it's because something to do with the weather, the climate as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if it's colder, you need to take longer to warm up to run fast, and it's you can't run as fast. When you're in 28 degrees versus 5 degrees, you can't run as fast in 5 degrees.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So they end up training longer reps, so more distance, less like power stuff, more endurance training.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I was so bad at it.
I don't like that. Yeah.
But I went through it anyways, and that's another thing that made me so strong to be able to do those reps. And by the end of it, compared to like for my personal best in terms of sprinting, I was pushing like those reps so close. Oh my gosh, sorry.
Yeah, it happens. It's fine.
I was pushing those reps so hard. I was trying to keep up with the guys that were faster than me. I didn't care like if that wasn't the target time I was supposed to be hitting. I wanted to keep up with those guys the whole time, even though they're faster than me. And it was just like I learned to push myself really hard, and like I love looking back and being like I've improved my mentality when it comes to training,
Yeah.
Being able to push the boundaries.
Yeah. So that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about like mindset, because you hear about a lot of the times like athletes before a game, before like championship games, they do, like a lot of sports psychology and all these guys talk about the importance of like mindset and like visualization and like all that kind of stuff. Do you apply those kind of things too? And is that something that in your experience has been like really like important for you?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I remember when I was growing up, I was lucky. We got because basically when I was growing up, I had a sponsor that helped like find people it was an Emirati initiative. They helped bring managers to certain athletes and helped help them out basically to manage them. And this manager helped to find a sports psychologist who helped me out for like a month or two, and I learned so much from him. And also they helped me find training camps. Like I went to America to train and stuff.
Yeah, it
was really amazing over there. I learned so much from the people that I met there. Anyways, coming back to the sports psychologist, he taught me like how to visualize and help me to execute my race. Okay. So he'd literally get me to like sit down, close my eyes, visualize my race like 3 times, and try to like it was really weird, like pick up on every single little detail in my visualization. He'd be like, okay, like it's not just visualizing the race itself, but visualize how the track feels like when you put your fingers on the start line. Like how does the track feel? And like all these little things, I was like, why? Yeah, why are you making me?
How is this relevant? Yeah.
But apparently, I don't know. I haven't looked in the research actually, but apparently, like visualizing all those small, tiny things, as well as obviously how it feels, the movement, exactly how it feels coming out the blocks, going through your phases in the race and stuff. Apparently, it makes like the visualization more like vivid, and then helps you to execute it better.
Okay, interesting. You're kind of like priming your brain, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, like look out for this, pay attention to
Yeah.
this, and I guess naturally over time, if you've been doing it for so long,
Yeah.
that's when you execute it on like race day.
Yeah. And like another thing that's cool about like athletics is that you're in your own lane in the end of the day. So like whatever someone else does is what they do, you know? You can only focus on what you're doing,
100%.
which is cool. But again, it's also not cool because then sometimes you just want to like, you know, get in someone else's way.
You're competitive, of course.
Yeah,
you want to win the
yeah.
race. No, it makes sense, of course.
So yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can imagine, because like you said, when you left and you trained, competed internationally, and you started racing against people that were on like another level as well. I can imagine it's quite a humbling experience.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, because sometimes you think like, yeah, I'm the shit, and then there's always someone that's like bigger, smarter, better. That's like somewhere. So how do you, from a mindset perspective, is it just to focus on yourself and just do the best you can for you, or like what's your mindset when it comes to like competition and that kind of stuff?
So when I first went to like a big competition internationally, and I realized, wow, like so when I was younger, I was for some reason the UAE team wanted to push me to compete against older kids.
Okay.
So I was maybe 15, but I was competing against like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, right? But so when I was competing against those kids, I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? Like, I'm not that bothered by this because they're older than me.
It's not my level of competition.
It's
unfair.
I'm not there yet. Yeah. But so at that time, it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But then when I got older, they put me in, like, I went to the Asian Olympic Games in
Oh shit! No way.
yeah, it was in like Siberia. It was so cool. Like, oh man, I've never when like running with a massive crowd, it's super nerve-wracking, but looking back at it, it was like amazing experience. Yeah. I realized like, geez, there's a lot of fast guys. Yeah. They were my age, so no excuse.
Yeah. Fair.
And I was like, damn, like this sucks, you know? You want to win.
Of course, and especially when you train like as hard as you do and all that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like, of course, like, how do you, because if everyone's training on the same kind of level and at the same intensity and stuff, how do you, I guess, start to close that gap? What needs to change? Because you're both kind of operating at like 100, like training or like working towards this at 100%.
Yeah.
So what do you think are the things is it technique? Is it food? Is it training?
Yeah. I always try to like, you know, like motivate myself by like looking ahead. Like if I consistently train, all I can do is change what I'm doing, right?
True.
Continue like to improve myself.
Yeah.
So I need to like just like think like positively, be like, okay, the training that I'm doing is hopefully gonna push me further and further and further. You don't know what's gonna go in like, you don't know what's gonna happen in the person next to you. They might stop. Their body might just stop getting better, you know? But all you can do is just like improve yourself. And I was like lucky enough to have a really good support system. Like my family, my friends, my coach who I was with, like he's an absolute legend. I love that guy. He was always like in my corner, you know? Even now, he's not even my coach anymore. I call him up all the time. And he's like, those people are the ones that keep you on track, you know? That's mainly it, really. Like if I was by myself, no way I would have stayed on the track.
No, come on, we all need a support system, man. Especially when you're training, like, because I can imagine like the successes, the highs are highs and the lows can be lows because you're putting in the same amount of work for both. So when the lows come, no, of course you need a support system. We all do. Come on, we're not fucking robots. We need people around to be like, it's okay, you can do it. You know what I mean? So right now, are you still training like to compete and all that kind of stuff? So when I know, okay, now it's a bit hectic because there's no competition. But when, like, is there another? What competition do you have your eyes set on? What's one that you're like, I want that's the
one. So I want to become national champ, 100% for seniors. I haven't been a senior national champion yet. So want to definitely do that, senior national champ. Compete internationally for the senior team. And then if like I'm always like, it's always been a dream. Literally, I know the date when I thought about it, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to just go to the Olympic Games so badly.
Really? Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Is Are you far off, or I don't think you're far off. Are you?
So it's complicated. Like the actual
how does it work?
qualifying time
Yeah.
for is fast, really fast, and I'm a little bit far off from that. It's like 10:08 or something, right? I'm like a second off,
Okay.
which is quite a lot. But the way it works is that for countries that do not have any athlete qualifying through the qualifying time, then they can send it's called a wild card entry, which is the fastest athlete in the country can go and compete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why you're like, you want to become the
National
senior
champ,
national champ, because you're the wild card player.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'd be sick, yo. That'd be sick.
Man,
We'd all come down.
Sounds
like 100%.
good.
For sure.
Yeah, I want as many people down.
The next one's in Tokyo, so like I'm so down.
I'd get like an army of people to come with me.
For sure. And so like in the Olympics, like to get there, you said there's a certain time that has to be met. And is the team big? Is it a big team, or like how many people are like?
So the actual Olympic team would be quite big because it's in so many different sports.
Sure.
But compared to other teams, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in yours for like track.
Oh, for track and field. Not massive, no. We don't send many people from track and field to the Olympics, really.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have that many.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's okay.
Yeah.
You'll be the first one. It's fine.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. I wanted to get on to AIS athletics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually watched the thing you guys did on 103.2.
Oh, yeah. The radio, yes.
I saw that. That was cute. That was fun.
Yeah.
So that guy, so it was you, the director, and he's the guy that you met. You said and you guys started this. So he started it, and then you
jumped on.
You jumped on. Okay. And you've been there for how long now?
For now, a little bit over a year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And for the people who don't know, and for everyone watching at home, what is AIS Athletics? Tell us what it is and what it's all about.
Yeah, sure. So the main thing with us is we're a track and field coaching provider or athletics coaching provider.
Okay.
And we do loads of stuff. So we have the main thing, our main base is in Gems World Academy. It's our academy. Okay. It's our track and field academy. And loads of kids come and train with us. This year it's going to be 4 times a week. We basically coach track and field. So running, jumping, and throwing.
Okay.
And then we also do other stuff. So we do after school activities for certain schools.
Okay.
So, like ECAs, that's what they call them.
Yeah.
We help schools with their track teams, track and field teams. So to try to improve their track teams, like we had loads of schools that we coached last year going to the World School Games. We taught them how to change, like basically doing relay changes is actually super technical.
Really?
Like especially the sprint relays, they're super technical because if you can master it, then you can get the baton to travel around super fast, and very smooth. And young kids, they're not taught this, right? So we taught these schools, and they went out and they smashed it. It was great. They didn't even have like the fastest guys or the fastest girls, but they smashed it and they did really well. They did amazingly, beating all the fast teams.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then we also do stuff with the Ministry of Education. So we coach all the ministry education teachers, track and field qualification.
Oh, wow.
We have a level 1 track and field qualification, which we give out to the whole of the Ministry of Education for free.
That's awesome.
Just try to spread the knowledge.
Yeah, of course.
And what else?
So the aim of it is to help inspire kids and athletes.
That reminds me.
So like, is that what that's kind of the idea?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, and we also forgot to say we do holiday camps as well. So in the holidays we have intensive training camps almost, where we always bring in international athletes to inspire. Like you said, that's why it reminded me to inspire, and then also change up the training. You know what I mean? They'll bring their own training methods in, challenge the kids, and inspire them at the same time. We've had some amazing athletes come over, like seriously,
like top level guys.
Yeah, top of the world.
Yeah,
and it's great. Yeah, it's
that's
really
awesome,
good.
man. I think what I like about, because there's a lot of like in Dubai, it's flooded and filled with personal trainers and
Yeah,
coaches and
yeah.
stuff, but it's usually for like adults for the most part.
Yeah.
That's why what I liked about what you're doing is like it's kids
Yeah.
and it's
yeah.
schools, so it's a completely different
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
is it easy? Are the schools like excited to come on? Is it easy to work with them? Like how does it work? Like how does that structure work?
Yeah, we have good relationship with a lot of the schools, the PE teachers, the head of the schools. That we have a really good relationship with them because they know we're serious. They know
legit.
we mean well.
Yeah.
And they really trust us with their kids. So it's quite easy in that sense. They like us. So it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So how many schools are you working with right now?
So right now we are with GEMS, which is 49 schools. We're not in all of 49 schools.
Okay.
But we have a relationship with GEMS, so we can enter all those schools, but we're quite young, so we can't do that just yet. We work with Nord Anglia. NAS, have you heard of them?
No, I haven't.
It's there's so many new schools, it's crazy.
I lost schools a long time ago.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about school in ages.
Yeah. So there's Nord Anglia, Arcadia. I'll just list them off for you.
Yeah, list them off.
There's also GEMS Royal Academy, which is where our base is. Dubai American Academy. What else? I'm having a mind blank.
It happens.
Wellington, Silicon Oasis.
I got a lot of schools, yo.
There's a lot more too. We have like close to 20 schools.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I forgot
so
the rest.
It's okay, it happens. So how many, I guess, would you say in all your programs, how many kids are you guys training at the moment?
So in our academy, we have over 200 kids. We have like 220 and should be having more now.
Okay.
Our kids are signing up as we speak.
Yeah.
We're starting on the 7th of September. So
back in the game.
Loads of people are signing up. It's great. And then and that's not counting all the schools. I was just speaking about
your own academy, right? Because there's two different things. It's two separate things under the same umbrella, right?
Yes.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many in the other schools.
So you're working there as the I know you're working as the performance director.
Yes.
And I'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
But how is it working with kids and like training kids? Because I can imagine, like, I wouldn't have the patience, to be very honest. So I don't know how it is for you. How do you find working with kids?
I like it. It's fun. Yeah, for sure. They're like, I joke around with them. I learn from them. They teach me stuff. I teach them stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, I didn't know what TikTok was until I started coaching kids. They're the ones that taught me.
That's a big lesson. That's so funny. I don't blame you, by the way. If I didn't have my sister, I'd never know what TikTok was.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoy coaching kids. It's fun. Yeah, it is.
Is it? So have you coached like older people as well?
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to get to that because you were saying we only coach kids. Right now, we've opened up to we have a run club now.
Okay.
Which is middle distance and long distance running for adults. So it's the same concept. We teach them technique, and then we get them working hard to try to get those long reps in, and they become better.
Really?
Like running mechanics, less injuries, and like running is amazing. Like it's just a thing that is you get a runner's high when you run loads, and it's just like amazing. Yeah. And like you see the benefits of running are mad. They're really good. So adults that will benefit a lot from running with us, especially because we're very technical the way we teach it. So they'll get less injuries. They'll be able to run further, more efficient. So they'll be just better at running. Really.
Yeah. I wish I liked running. I hate it, bro. Like cardio, is the bane of my existence. But
you have to come join the club and then
I think so. Maybe my technique must be shit. It must be so bad. Maybe that's why I hate it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Maybe if I fix, I get better. I'll be more encouraged to do it.
Yeah.
So as the performance director at AIS, so what's your role? What's your job? I know you train. I know you do training, but what else does the role entail?
Yeah. So obviously I have to coach.
Yeah.
I do loads of coaching, like you said. I'm not a business person at all, but I'm learning so much from Omar.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been given a lot of jobs. Like, obviously one of the main things is like getting to know people in the industry, and connecting up, linking up with them, seeing how we can help them, they can help us, and we can build together. Like, for example, there's a gym called ICC, International Cricket Council Gym.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's an amazing facility. It's not massive or anything, but it's very quiet and it's very athlete centric. Like,
Okay.
it's literally made for athletes, the gym. And I got a connection with them to try to do some more S&C work now, because we know our older athletes who are like teenagers, they need to start getting to know the gym, trying to get to know the strength and conditioning side of training, not just run.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
To help reduce injuries, get stronger, get more powerful, all that stuff. So, for example, so another thing is like I said, linking up with people. So we linked up with this gym, and we were like, okay, let's bring our elite athletes in, to help improve their S&C. What can we give you guys? They're like, oh, we have cricket players. Can you do? I was like, let's do this. Like, we can help you guys out with your cricket players. We can do a speed, power, agility. Type workshop with them, to try to improve their power, agility, and speed. And they're like, yes, 100%. And now we have a relationship with them, so it's doing that kind of stuff. Same thing with Are You Active? Their rehabilitation physiotherapy place. It's very close to the gym, actually. So we have like a triangle. It's perfect.
Yeah, everything's in that like center, like in that one space. Cool.
Yeah. And basically we've made another linked up with them. They give us a 25% discount for all our athletes, which is amazing. And then they literally call me whenever, speaking to about James hurt his ankle, he's allowed to do running drills, but don't get him sprinting type thing. So like, I have to make sure that that athlete, he doesn't sprint today. I let the coaches know, that kind of thing. Also, we recently have a partnership with Nike, which is amazing.
That's sick.
Yeah,
that's
it's
fucking
crazy.
sick. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's that partnership about?
So it's we recently did it. We're with Sun and Sands, Nike. And basically they're just like, they like the way we do things. Sure. And obviously we like them.
Shout out to Nike. Send some stuff.
So yeah, basically this year we're getting Nike kit, Nike AIS kit.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And sorry, Kukri, by the way, was our original sponsor, and they are amazing people. They were the best. They made these designs. They were super amazing to work with. They did an amazing job, and we were so sorry to have to change. But it's like Nike, you can't turn down Nike, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to
absolutely love Kukri, no joke.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Kukri too.
But yeah, so now that we have kit coming on the way, Nike kit, it's sending out information about the Nike kit. Parents can pre-order, making sure that every parent knows that they can get this Nike kit. We have vests, we have t-shirts, we have elite t-shirts, which is better material. We have jackets and hoodies, and the products are sick, and they're for a really good price as well, because obviously we're ordering it in bulk. We want the parents to have a good price, so it's cheap. It's cheaper.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and it's ordering all those, making sure all the pre-orders are in place. I'm literally looking at all the numbers, making sure everyone's got the right, which parent wants which piece of kit, what size, what color, all that stuff. So I have to deal with that, which is cool. And then also we're giving out scholarships.
Scholarships? To athletes and stuff?
To our athletes.
No way, that's awesome. That's fucking sick.
Yeah. So we're giving out scholarships to our best athletes, the top tier athletes. We're giving out scholarships to help with parents that are struggling with this situation that we're in right now. So any parents that have lost their job or got a massive pay cut or anything like that, we want to give scholarships to those kids. And then also the hardworking kids, the kids that have improved the most, we want to give scholarships to those kids too.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're a busy man.
Yes, crazy.
Performance director comes with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool that you're being exposed to so many different things besides the training and like working with parents. Like one thing you said on the radio show that you were on was you make it a point yourself to really involve the parents like
100%.
with their kids, like with their kids and their training and what's going on. Why is that such an important thing for you?
In the end, the parent is probably the person that influences the children, the athletes, the most. 100%. Right? My parents influenced me the most. That's why I stayed on track.
That's true, yeah.
So that's why, basically, that's why we involve them, because they make a massive impact in their kid's life. If I see a kid and I want them to be the best version of themselves they can be, right? And I see that they can be so much better if they just change this certain thing. Maybe it could be mentality. I'll go speak to the parents. I'll be like, listen, your kid, like, he's doing really well, but like there's this that needs to change. I'm coming to tell you that so that we can try to work together to try to improve it, and he can become a better person, a better version of themselves. Sure. So that's why they make the biggest impact.
I think that's a very smart move. And at the end of the day, if they're involved, it's more of a collaboration, because they want the same thing for the kids as you want for them as like a coach.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
And you said something that at the end of each session, you guys will have like a 5-minute pep talk about either nutrition, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I'm like adults like us struggle with all that shit now. You know what I mean? Like with nutrition, with sleep, with stretching. Like I can tell you, I'm probably disaster across the board. But so I was thinking, like, as a kid, do they like, because when you're a kid, especially nutrition, probably, because other things I think are more, you can do, like, okay, stretch some more, do that, whatever. But nutrition as a kid, man, we used to eat everything. We didn't give a shit. We didn't care. So is nutrition a big challenge with that, like the younger athletes that you work with?
Yes,
I can imagine it would be.
Yeah, with some.
Right?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. You know, there's some kids that are blessed. They can eat whatever they want. They'll be all right. But obviously, as you get older, if you want to become more serious, it doesn't matter. You need to fix that. Nutrition. That aspect needs to be fixed. But then there's other kids that obviously we want to, like, that's one thing that they need to work on.
Yeah.
And we always, like I said, keep the parents in the loop. Let's say one kid is like struggling in terms of that sense with their weight. You need to speak to their parents. Only exercise can only do so much, you know?
Yeah.
And you need to speak to them, like, obviously, and it's all like, it's never aggressive or anything like that. It's always like, we want to help you, because that's what we're here for, right?
Exactly. True.
So it is definitely a factor. We always talk to our kids about nutrition, and like you said, they're only kids, but our kids are serious. It's really they take it. They're good kids as well. Like, they're like mini professional athletes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I know you've been, so part of your work is doing the coaching, and you coach people. Yeah. So what's the biggest lesson you've learned, like, in your experience coaching? And like, when you started, what were you doing? What's something you did, like, when you started that now, like, you don't do anymore? You know what I mean? It's probably a lot, but like, there's probably a couple things that you're like, now I learned from my mistakes. Don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah. That's a tough question. What was I doing in the beginning? So I have to tell you about one experience.
Okay.
So I went to the US for 3 different camps in a row. Well, not in a row, but at different times. They were training camps in a facility called MJP. Okay. Michael Johnson's Performance Center. Michael Johnson was the previous world record holder for the 400. Only recently broke it in 2016. And has an amazing facility made for, like, athletes to improve. It's like one of the best facilities in the world for athlete development. NFL guys, NBA guys, all the top athletes around the world from all around the world come to train there to improve. I went there when I was in 2015, right? And I learned so much from just training there. I was training. And then a year later, I went again, and I was doing half training, half coaching, just to get
okay. Yeah, that
work
experience.
experience.
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't even thinking about being a coach. I was just doing it for fun. The experience. I learned so much then. And then in the third year that I went, it was in 20. I actually forgot. Anyways, it was like maybe 2015, 16, maybe 2018, I think. Okay. And I went there and I was full-time coaching as an intern and training at the same time. In my breaks, I'd have a 3-hour break, absolutely smash a session in, and then continue working.
Back to work, yeah.
It was crazy work. I'd wake up, I'd have to be in the facility at 6 or 7 a.m. and then I would leave at 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I would train. I would work, train for 2 hours, nap for half an hour, eat for 15 minutes, and then go and work again. And then go back home, sleep, restart for like 2 months. It was crazy.
That's intense.
And in that was probably, in terms of coaching, that was probably my biggest learning curve.
In that experience.
Yeah,
that last year. Okay.
Yeah. That was way before I went to join AIS.
Okay.
That was before.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest learning experience I had in terms of coaching, just because that was the first time I ever did it properly.
Sure.
I coached in school and stuff, the younger kids in school, but that was nothing huge.
Yeah.
This one was like, you had to take tests
it's very
as an
serious.
intern. Yeah. They had cameras literally on you 24/7 as you're coaching.
Wow.
And it's the biggest thing I learned was confidence, like being confident with it, like talking to the kids, like being able to raise your voice is a massive thing that I never even realized. Like my voice wasn't loud enough for everyone to hear me, and I was so surprised. I was like, I'm talking loud. And the coaches there would be like, no, you're not talking loud enough. I learned so much in those 2 months. Yeah. And it's difficult. I don't know one thing that I stopped doing.
Or what's one thing, what do you say, let's say last 2 years, biggest thing you've changed in your coaching?
Probably learning to tell if the athlete is actually tired or if they're messing with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or if they're just being lazy.
Okay, so picking it up, like, I know you're fucking around today. Like, move your ass. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
Okay. That's an important thing.
And being able to push them is good. Like, being able to motivate them.
Yeah.
Oh, I love those motivational talks before a big final rep, Get all the athletes together. Guys, come on. It's the last one. This is when it counts.
Yeah, bring it home.
Visualize your last 50 meters of the race. The guy's 2 meters in front of you. This is the rep that's going to get you to chase him down.
Exactly. Yeah. So being confident in what you're doing, I guess speaking loudly is also important. And being able to motivate your athletes and understand them and how they work, and like you said, when they're tired, when they're not tired. It's super important. You've worked with probably some incredible athletes and people over the years.
Oh yeah,
like some of the top guys. What's the best piece of advice you ever got from the athletes? There's probably a lot. But let's say 2 or 3 that you really have stuck in your head and that you carry with you now.
I remember when I was in America, I was with the I met with a coach. He's probably one of the most legendary coaches in track and field history. His name's John Smith.
Okay.
And he coached Olympic champions, mostly in the sprints, world record holders. I don't know, you won't know their names, but one of the biggest one that he coached, his name is Maurice Green.
Okay.
He had the world record for the 100, Olympic champion, world champion, like multiple times, and he's an absolute beast. John Smith, the way he speaks to you he like preaches almost, you know, you like like you just zone in and listen to him.
Yeah.
He like he was like what did he say? Such a hard question. He told me so much stuff.
What sticks out? What sticks out? So things that stick out doesn't have to be that one thing, but maybe a couple something.
He was telling me like there's no cookie cutter method. You know what that means?
Yeah, like there's no bullshit. There's one.
Yeah, so cookie cutter is like one shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a cookie cutter method. Everyone's different.
Okay.
So you need to focus on yourself. Think about it. Like, what works for you? What have you realized that where are the correlations? When you did this happened, you know? Like, there's no cookie cutter method. Your training method is going to be different. Like, it's the same thing we talked about before.
Yeah.
Your training method is going to be different from
everyone else.
From one person to another person.
Yeah.
So you need to focus on what works for you. That's probably the best thing.
Best thing, yeah. Just focus on yourself.
It's a massive thing. It's very simple, but
yeah, but it's a simple saying, but the meaning behind it is very like deep. I think it's about being just like more aware as well of yourself. What do I need? You know, what do I like? What works for me? Like you said, like we spoke about earlier.
And like it's being able to find those like patterns. You know, I have 3 books now, 3 diaries. They're like this thick of every single session I've done for the past 4 years.
What?
Yeah.
4 years?
Yeah.
Really? So like how many reps? How
3
long?
or 4 years.
How many reps? How many?
How many reps? What weight? What distance you're running? Like what weight in the gym you're carrying? What distance you're running on the track? Even like I stopped doing this as much, but like when it's an important point, actually I do this now, but what I used to do before was literally write how I was feeling on every session, like oh, I felt sick here, I felt to be honest, I realized that wasn't as important. What I pick up on is more technical stuff. So doing this specific thing helped me to do this. Is it important? Like is it gonna work? Does it help? Like when I go through the timing gates, did it actually make my time faster? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Like learn to realize what works for you.
Yeah. No,
so yeah, looking at those books is crazy.
Yeah.
Looking back at those books.
I can imagine. It's 3 years of work.
Yeah.
It's 3 years of work. Literally like hours in the gym, food, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I can imagine it's pretty like.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to look at.
4 years is crazy. I think it's 4 seasons.
4 seasons. That's So from last year to now, has there been an improvement from last season to this season?
Yes,
in your
100%.
Speed? Yeah. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
It's good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Times in training are really good. Now it's been a bit weird. Like I've been getting really strong in the gym, but I need to start putting more on the track just because of all this stuff that's been going on. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
And it's super hot.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to find time in the evening and in the morning.
Yeah. When it's just before it gets really, really hot. Yeah.
With work and stuff. But still been training every day. You know. But yeah, times this year have been really good, getting better and better.
That's awesome.
And it's just it's nice to see.
Yeah.
So hopefully it just needs to come together in competition on the big day.
Yeah, exactly.
Need to get more. I want to race more. I miss racing so much.
Being in a like race, that feeling. I can imagine. Oh man, no, that's awesome. First of all, I wanted to say thank you, Talal, for coming on the show today and for telling your story. And so interesting talking to someone who's been competing at that level, because I just don't get it.
I'm not there yet. I want to get higher.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, but it's like to do what you do. You're like one of maybe a couple hundred in like all of this country. So like you should give credit to yourself.
Thanks, man.
And one thing I ask all my guests at the end is, what's the message you'd like people to take home with them today?
Come join AIS.
Yeah, plug it in. 100%. 100%.
No, for like.
Yeah, what's the message you want to go home with? Best piece of advice that you'd like people to remember?
Okay. Be yourself, 100%.
Okay.
Don't let other people influence. If you enjoy doing something, go out and chase it. No. Don't let other people influence you. Oh, don't do that. If you enjoy it, that's you.
Yeah.
But you enjoy it because that's you, you know?
Yeah.
Be yourself and do what you enjoy.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite thing, best
Yeah.
piece of advice.
I think that's a good piece of advice.
I think
for everyone.
I think Bruce Lee said something like,
Was
"Be
it-
true to oneself," something like that.
Yeah,
He has an amazing quote.
he has amazing quotes. The one my favorite is like, "Be like water."
Yeah,
Yeah, that one's sick.
That's a sick quote. That's so like, yeah, that's a OG quote. I'm gonna find it.
Find it. Find it. We need to. It has to be on the show.
Okay. Always be yourself. Express yourself. Have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for successful personality and duplicate him or duplicate them. Just be yourself and be the best you can be.
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
what you enjoy the way you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome advice, and I think a lot of that resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I had a great time.
Me too.
It was really fun talking to you and listening
Yeah.
to the story. Guys, to everyone, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And as always, I hope it helps. Peace. Peace. Awesome.
I really enjoyed that, man.
Awesome. That was so fun. That was a lot of fun. I loved it.
Me too. That was so good.